an enemy to vote because they have all the rigging machinery. In Tanzania, they even block the internet. After blocking internet, try to all the electricity, release police and so on.
So I'm taking you to the press briefing. Let me just microphone. I'm taking you to the press briefing of the. Why is it not playing? What is happening? Let me check my. It's supposed to be playing. I don't know why it is not actually playing. Okay, let me fix my things.
Whether you come from which political party, or from church organization, even from wherever you are coming from, it's a revolution. Even those from outside the country, they must come and join us because it is now a revolution. We have identified a new enemy of the people of Zimbabwe. And that new enemy of the people of Zimbabwe, these are the Zimbabweans who are now in the control of the state culture. And they now want to facilitate the amendment of the constitution so that we postpone the election. The individuals, these enemies of the people, they have even guys for moving around the country, donating luxurious cars. I don't think we have anyone with such cars which are being donated by the money into donations of luxurious cars, so that they buy in people in this to support this 2030 agenda. That's what is happening in Zimbabwe. So we mentioned that these are the people who are pushing the 2030 agenda. So in Zimbabwe, we are coming together and mobilize against the abuse of our constitution, which clearly states that the amendment of the extension of the presidential term must be done through a referendum and must not affect the sitting president. The agreement on the constitution is whenever there is need of amendment of the constitution so that it extends the presidential terms, this must be agreed through the people, through a referendum. And these guys, they know very well that in a referendum, you don't need to register to vote. You just need an identity card, then you vote yes or no. So they are trying to avoid all those processes. How are they doing that? They destroy the opposition and capture the parliament. That's the first stage which they did. People went for an election, voted for their MPs. They approached individuals from those political parties, paid money, supported the agenda, chased away all the MPs from the opposition. So the parliament is now captured. Over them with $40,000 US loans to buy houses. And I can tell you, those MPs are not even repaying those loans. Just because they are not repaying those loans, they are now playing according to the headline. If the headline says turn left, they are turning left. If the headline says turn right, they are turning right. So in order to have a parliament, that's why we are saying it is now a revolution. So nothing to expect from the parliament. It's captured. So they are avoiding these procedures. So we are clearly denouncing the 2030 agenda and recommend that President Mnangagwa should consider resigning now, since his leadership is directing the nation into poverty and chaos. He is the major influence of the mass immigration in our country. That's why all of us are here, because of Mnangagwa. Zimbabwe now lacks opportunities. Service delivery is now at its lowest. Our education is at its worst, but arrogant leadership is playing an I don't care attitude. For example, we have in universities, lecturers like for University of Zimbabwe, they went for the whole year on strike. Some were even suspended. Students were not learning at the University of Zimbabwe the whole year. But we have the president with the guards who just go and preside for a graduation ceremony of students who never learned. The students were not learning. We all know in the country that they were not learning. Lecturers were on strike. When they tried to demonstrate, they were being put behind bars. Some were suspended and some were even fired. So these students missed a lot of lectures. But when the graduation date comes, the president just goes there and says, you are graduating with such a degree, you are graduating with such a degree. How can you go and preside a graduation of students who never did, who never attended lectures? You are destroying the future generation. Imagine getting into a surgery, right? Then you meet a doctor who just graduated but never attended, what we call it? Never attended lecture. That's the situation in Zimbabwe. So that's why we are all here. So I will leave some other areas to my colleagues because we have a lot of problems in our country. I just decided to touch part of those problems. That's why we are saying there is no need of extension of the presidential term because all of us we agreed as stakeholders under this revolution that Zimbabwe is now a failed state and something must be done now. Thank you so much.
Well, this was the speech I managed to lay my hand on. It's a press briefing that is currently ongoing in Johannesburg. So we are following that event very, very closely. This was Saruaka's press conference speech. So we'll continue to actually bring more of this information as it trickles in. All of these actually individuals, they are advancing one cause. These political parties, they are saying no to 2030 term extension of Emerson Dambozo Mnangagwa. They are up in arms demanding an end, saying we should not tolerate the mutilation of the constitution. So it's ongoing in Johannesburg. We will continue to actually bring you more of this as soon as we lay our hands on. I'm still trying to check, especially with the speakers that are in Johannesburg at the moment. There are quite a number of political parties that are there, but I have managed to get just a speech of one person. Maybe I may get, okay. Let me try to get, these people, they did these public addresses, but each individual is actually deciding to put it either on his channel. So let's listen to what Ngaboto Nicholas Mapela had to say.
And thanks to all of you who are here. I'm the General Secretary of the Zimbabwe Communist Party, and my name is Ngaboto Nicholas Mapela. We've been asked as community to come and give a just analysis on the meaning of 2030 agenda. So it is well. For us to give a just analysis, we need to understand first and foremost which class does ZANU-PF as a collective today. Before we get there, we need to briefly also look into its origins. ZANU-PF created on the 8th of September 1963, created by imperialistic forces.
Apologies, we will be coming shortly. We'll be coming shortly, just stay there. We'll try. Sorry, the voice is so poor. It is actually the venue where they were doing
In
this address.
1963. When ZAPU had entered into agreement with the Soviet Union and the rest of the communist people, and it was at the time that imperialists understood that at some point majority rule was going to happen. And the imperialist forces or the colonialists wanted majority rule to happen under their own terms. So they couldn't allow a party that has strong links with Soviet Union, Cuba, to lead a new nation. Capricorn society played a key role in breaking up the liberation movement in that Rhodesia, Zambia. Now, ZANU-PF gets created as an agent of imperialist forces. But because we could not explain to the mass of the people that it was the imperialist forces that created ZANU-PF, we have to throw in the technical and say that a new nation called Zimbabwe cannot be led by a man, they were saying, the big stomach, a man from the minority tribe in the valley. That was simple to try and win the support of the people. Because in the main, Zimbabwe has two major ethnic groups, the Shona and the Ndebele. So it became easier to raise the ethnic card for ZANU to receive support. But of course, this support came very late in the late 70s, towards the Lancaster House Agreement or negotiations. So you have this counter-revolutionary movement supported by imperialist forces in 1980, Margaret Thatcher, Andrew Young of the Americans, was an American diplomat, who at the time, in 1980, when ZANU-PF won elections, he said it was a victory for democracy. He had Dr. Smith in 1965, he had unilaterally declared independence, rejecting the influence of imperialist forces. In 1980, 18th April, he ushered in a neo-colonial state. So Zimbabwe emerges on the 18th of April as a neo-colonial state, meaning you can have your black prime minister, black president, black cabinet ministers, parliamentarians, but you're not in control of the economy. It was up to 1998 when there was a fallout between the imperialist forces and the ZANU-PF, and of course the government of Zimbabwe. When Robert Gabriel Mugabe went to defend Laurent Desmond Kabila in the Democratic Republic of Congo, when Desmond Kabila came into power in the Democratic Republic of Congo, started to renegotiate the mineral rights in Congo, the Americans were not happy. They used their proxies, Rwanda and Uganda, to invade the Democratic Republic of Congo. And Mugabe stepped in the military. That's where the fallout began. This is why, if you check the 1998 Donor Conference in Harare, one of the key conditions was that Zimbabwe needed to withdraw its military from the Democratic Republic of Congo. So when November 2017 comes, because by then Mugabe they pulled out of the Commonwealth or fired isolated international, and then after the Body coup in what is now called the Second Republic, Mnangagwa, the president of Zimbabwe, tried to end international isolation by trying to join or rejoin the Commonwealth, otherwise taking Zimbabwe back to the imperialist court. So Zimbabwe today, of course, is not a failed state, my comment. It has never failed in the class that it represents. It represents what you would call the black bourgeoisie class. which we refer to as the looting gas. ZANU-PF as an institution, not Emerson Mnangagwa as an individual. Because what we see inside ZANU-PF is a competition of this bourgeoisie competing to loot. Just as we saw, when Mugabe was seen by the rest of the world as a soldier against imperialists, it was a competition between the imperialist forces and the parasitic bourgeoisie led by Mugabe in Zimbabwe in looting our natural resources. So you have two factions in Zambia today that are controlled by different bourgeoisies inside Zimbabwe, and of course supported by international capital. So it's a competition to loot. It has got nothing to do with the working class and the peasant. So 2030 agenda has got nothing to do with the working class and peasant in Zimbabwe. Those inside ZANU-PF who are saying no to 2030 agenda, they are not doing this for the mass of the people or the working class and peasant. They want to loot. That's what is happening. So we must avoid the danger of going back to the MD slogan of 2000, of isolating an individual, Mugabe must go, and now replace it with Mnangagwa must go. So what then is our position as the Zimbabwe Communist Party? Our position is we are not defending the bourgeoisie constitution.
I don't know what is happening with our network. Apologies. Let's just continue. We're listening at Mnangagwa Nicholas Mapena giving his address. Apologies for that inconvenience.
In Zimbabwe must be afforded an opportunity to go and elect their councillors, their members of parliament, their president. Because we know that Mnangagwa and the ZANU-PF want to end multi-party democracy. Of course, ourselves are not persuaded in the politics of a multi-party democracy, because the biggest multi-party democracy in the world today, the United States, we see what it is doing in Gaza. It is now threatening Nigeria. We saw what it said about South Africa. Every American president, whether it's from the Republicans or it's from the Democrats, must at least bomb a country. So we are not for Western democracy as communists. We are for the workers' democracy. That's what we represent. This is why, as communists, we are fighting for the dictatorship of the proletariat. That is to say, the working class and the peasants must gain hegemony over the state in Zimbabwe. We must dismantle neo-colonialism. We must dismantle the looting class. We must dismantle imperialism. I'm not sure, Comrade Nopala, as you asked me to give a gas analysis, if there are persons. Unfortunately, I'm traveling to Bulawayo with an event right October in Bulawayo on Saturday. As General Secretary, I should be there by now. So if there are questions, if I will be here, I'll respond. But if not, I trust my Secretary General is going to take those questions. Thank you so much.
Well, that was an address by Mnangagwa Nicholas Mapena. On the press conference where they are all speaking against 2030. He was giving lessons into what he calls the class struggles. It was a lot. I'm sure you will actually, as individual, I'm interested in actually pinpointing what happened there. Let me see. I think I'm able to get a part of the. I need to. Okay. Yeah, let's hear this one.
Democratic space is closed down. the state has made sure that anyone who is a potential threat, be it by voicing or be it by mobilizing against the agenda 2030, is handed down, it is harassed. So it is important that as Zimbabweans we come together even from foreign lands, and we are also encouraging others in different parts of the world to do the same, to mobilize themselves and mobilize Zimbabweans, come up with strategies so that we are able at the right time to peacefully protest against the government of Zimbabwe and what they are doing. Considering as well that they won the 2023 elections under a shrouded cloud of mystery. The elections, according to some of us, they were not free, they were not fair. My party was one of the first parties to write to the African Union and to the SADC observer missions to say the election results must be rejected in total. So we are against the issue of Agenda 2030 and also on the basis that the electoral outcome and the mandate that ZANU-PF has was stolen, it was rigged, they did not deserve it. So I would want us to set the ball rolling. I will ask Comrade Sarwaka to come and give us his views as far as the issue of.
So we have heard, I think, from Sarwana. I think I'll try to look from others. We heard also from Mabuto. Okay, so I think from now on we will listen from Mbonisi. Yeah, I think it must be Mbonisi Kumbo. Let's go and listen to his voice.
Implement the devolution of power. That concept is there in the constitution. They are elected MPs and councillors for the communities, but they don't have a policy. The government refused to set a policy that will allow this, the devolution of power clause to function. As the people of Matabeleland, we have been advocating for the kingship. As many of us who know that we have king in the land, that the government of Zimbabwe refused to endorse and accept because they say it is not in the constitution. As the people of Matabeleland and also as the people of the whole nation, we have been complaining about the issues of freedom of expression. The government refused to give us freedom to exercise our democratic rights as the people, as the citizens. It's difficult now to go and address a political rally in Zimbabwe. I heard Comrade Mavena saying that he's going for a rally. Good luck, Comrade. Hopefully they will allow you this time. Most of the time when we try to do that, always the police will tell us that the meeting is not here. The Constitution says we must notify the police. But whenever we notify them, they decline. They tell us that we cannot proceed with them. Whether it's a meeting, whether it's a press conference, whatever it is, they never allow us to proceed. So, as a we strongly condemn the ZANU-PF National People's Conference resolutions that they made in Dar. Most importantly, the resolution of the extension of the presidential term limit and also the parliament. Because the Constitution of Zimbabwe, under the section 91, stroke 2, qualifications for election as president and vice president, this section stipulates that no person who has already served 2 terms as president is eligible for re-election, of which Mnangagwa is in the 2nd term, so he doesn't qualify from benefiting from the extension of the term limit. The Constitution of Zimbabwe doesn't allow him to do so, but he wants to do it against the Constitution of Zimbabwe. Even in section 328, the amendment of term limit provisions, this clause explicitly protects term limits from manipulation by stating, notwithstanding any other provision of this Constitution, a person who has served 2 terms as president is not eligible for re-election to that office. So there are a lot of sections in the Constitution of Zimbabwe that are against what ZANU-PF is trying to do. And as a political party, we are also against the term extension.
To address serious problems in our country. My name is Mnangagwa. I'm from the Freedom Alliance Party. I am the Deputy National Leader of the Freedom Alliance. On behalf of my party, Freedom Alliance, and on my own reality of the Harare regime, this is not just a constitutional issue, but a crisis of governance characterized by corruption. Millions wallow in extreme poverty, without jobs, without decent housing, without medical care, poor roads and poor schools. Civil servants are paid peanuts. Then Mnangagwa says he has unfinished developed projects. He says he has a future. He says he's got an appointment with the future in Zimbabwe. Let us be alive to the fact that Mnangagwa and his cronies have framed the narrative of violence against defending constitutionalism. They are bent on silencing our voices using the police, the security agents, and even petrol bombs. Comrades, we should understand what we are facing. Some may think this is new after the ZANU-PF conference, but those of us who have locked horns with the beast over perpetrated late ground hearings already know amending the Constitution continues. Let us make the debate relevant to our people's daily struggles and their wish to determine their destiny. Let us stop the nonsensical agenda 2030. We in Freedom Alliance believe in a combination of ideas and practical action. ZANU-PF has unleashed violence to launch its 2030 agenda. And how do we respond? Let us be serious, comrades. If we are sincere in defending the rights of the people, I thank you.
Next.
I now call upon Comrade Joshua to Thank you so much, Comrade Anana. Comrade, I'm Joshua Timzatangulube. We're the first people to see that this country, Zimbabwe, is now being triggered. There's no driver, it's just a driver. It's just moving along. We're the first people up. I came here in 2020 when I was attacked. Same time with Corporate Anana, and after telling the world about the quality of the president, the same president killed the village during Burauri. They followed me here in Santin. Then I had to go from Santin up to Hanishu police station. That's where I was hiding. For the sake of time, I will read my speech. Good afternoon, everyone. Sanbonani, Mawian, Magadini, Mulilabod. Today I speak not as a politician, not as a career activist, but as a son of the soil, torn from the land of birth by the same system that seeks to extend its own decay. I speak from exile, not because I ran, but because I was pushed out, as thousands have been. To those still inside the country, striking under the weight of intimidation, fear, poverty, and silence, we see you, we are with you. I speak from exile, but my heart has never left home. When you read the book of Nehemiah, we meet a man who thought, though he went in the palace and ate from the king's table, was said, and he said, how can I not be unhappy when the city where my forefathers are buried lies in ruins? We too may be doing relatively well, looking well in other countries, but our hearts beat for our homeland. In the same spirit, I ask, how can we be happy when our country is being strangled before our eyes? How can we celebrate when the land that birthed us is bleeding, looted, and humiliated by the regime that has forgotten its humanity? The first dawn of 2017. In 2017, Robert Mnangagwa was exposed to the way people of Zimbabwe. It felt like a new dawn, a breath of fresh air after decades of suffocation. But soon we realized that what we thought was light at the end of the tunnel was an oncoming train, the same ZANU-PF train, just with a new driver. The so-called Second Republic was nothing but just a repented coffee. It raised the hopes of a battered nation only to bury them deeper. After the much hyped first 100 days, it became clear that no change was coming. The faces had changed, but the cruelty remained. They called it reform, but we saw soldiers firing live bullets into the crowds in 2018. They called it progress, but corruption grew fatter, greed more and more shameless. They called it new dispensation, but it was the same old disease wearing a borrowed suit. And now they want to extend the disease. We say no to 2030 agenda, 2030 nonsense. Those who dared to speak truth were jailed, hunted, or forced into exile. The very team was not created to serve justice, but to stop dissent. Men and women of courage, like Job Scala, Jacob Ngalivume, the MRP9, Okochingono, and myself were arrested, persecuted, and silenced simply for speaking where cowards chose silence. Some have since been released, but the scars remain. Reminders of the state that criminalized courage and rewarded cruelty. We were told the old had ended, but it has only preferred the tyranny. And now ZANU-PF tells us Mnangagwa's rule must be extended beyond 2028. 2 more years to steal, 2 more years to rot, 2 more years to curse the youth with hopelessness. Let us be clear, this attempt to extend Mnangagwa's tenure is not constitutional reform, it is constitutional reform. Nothing good can be achieved in 2 extra years that could not have been done in 10 years. No to 2030, no to recycled dead wood. The future does not belong to those old thieves, it belongs to the youth of Zimbabwe. Let us be honest, those of us 40 and above have failed Africa. We have watched tyrants grow older in power and called instability. We have mistaken silence for peace. But Generation Z, Gen Z, the children of hunger and broken promises have taken up the mantle. They have removed a DJ president of Madagascar. They kept Ruto awake in Kenya every night. Even Morocco trembles because these young lions have shown their leader a middle finger. Kill one and 1,000 will, and the 100 will rise. Kill them 2 and 1,000 will take their place. Why? Because they have nothing left to lose. No jobs, no homes, no security, all stolen by old men who want to die in office and be buried in the marble while the youth rot in border queues. No to 2030, the youth must live, not wait. And yes, it is true, the majority who has received cars from the regime do not support it. We know there's a guy, because of corruption in Zimbabwe, who's passing away cars to people, bribing people with cars. Those people, they just take, but they don't support the regime. You can't buy someone a car while he doesn't have a house. Today, we have the government that hands out cars while people have no houses. Leaders are bribed with tickets, cars, fuels, coupons, fake prestige, while our hospitals have no bandages and our schools have no jobs. How can a government that cannot build homes find millions to buy cars? No to 2030 nonsense, not corruption disguised as empowerment. In village, we say you can't stitch an anus to stop diarrhea. You cannot fix a water system by giving it more time to rot. We once thought Ian Smith was the best our land could produce. We fought for freedom only to be ruled by men who turned the liberation into personal inheritance. We now have a great grandfather who wants to become an ancestor in power. Politics as level to the death of integrity. Today, politics in Zimbabwe has become a job, not service. Everyone, opposing MPs, treat the 2030 agenda as a contract extension, a chance to protect allowance while the people starve. It is no longer struggle for justice, it is now a scramble for benefits. So it forces us, ordinary citizens, to resist, not to partisan, not to personalities, but for the Constitution itself. Youth of my nation, put up your earphones down, put up your WhatsApp down, defend your future. When I stood in Zimbabwe to defend the Constitution, I did it alone many times. I used to do one main demonstration. I used to write on Facebook that I'm going to the street, people will follow me. I wish our youth can follow what I was doing during my time. The strategy is everyone, students, workers, the unemployed, the exiled, change leaders, and those surviving the heat at home. This is not politics. This is preservation of national soul. This may plead to rise from Harare to Bulawayo, from Ghana to Gombe, from the diaspora to the districts of Mali. The people are watching and the people are done waiting. We will not be silenced by fear, nor seduced by crimes from our corrupt temple. We are the children of those who dare to dream, and we will dare again. Mr. Mnangagwa, your time is up. You can arrest the body, but you cannot imprison a generation. You cannot silence voices, but you cannot kill an idea whose hour has come. No to 2030 nonsense, not to tyrant disguised as continuing. The youth of Zimbabwe are awake, and this time we will not be fooled by bold promises, psychic tyrants. The biblical call and what we must do now. This struggle cannot be minus God. Remember the God of Egypt. Pharaoh stood before Moses and the nation, and at the last order, rise up and go forth. Exodus 12, verse 31 to 32. Moses did not speak once and give up. He returned again and again, unshaken, unbowed, carrying a mandate greater than himself. Let us do the same, and now hear the call. If the regime proceeds with the 2030 extension agenda, we will answer with peaceful constitutional protests. We will march in our cities. We will gather in our townships. We will raise our voices in prayer and solidarity. We will stand unarmed, unafraid, and united. No stones, no violence, no destruction, just the power of the people refusing to surrender the future. The Lord says in Exodus 14:15, why do you cry to me? Tell the people to move forward. God moves when the people move. If our resistance remains only on social media, then we are standing still. But when we rise peaceful, boldly together, the Red Sea will part. We must choose to die as victors, or to live as slaves. When courage meets action, victory is guaranteed. We demand a future, not an extension of decay. We demand freedom for another funeral democracy. We demand respect for the Constitution, the last covenant between the people and the state. God bless Zimbabwe, and the children of Zimbabwe might rise. Siyabonga, Tatenda, Tabo, Twanumba. Thank you very much. Thank you, colleagues. We just want to, as the leaders of Zimbabwe, it is just to place it on record, comrades, that we are aware that there are some political parties that are in opposition that are beneficiaries of the 2030 agenda. Some are already in parliament because when the extension is going to happen, they are also going to be beneficiaries. There are some also that might not necessarily be in parliament, but that have colluded with ZANU-PF under the cover of darkness to receive tickets and positions in the future. And we are saying that the resistance to 2030 agenda must not be left in the hands of politicians, must not be left in the hands of activists and eminent people. It must be a resistance for everybody. It must be a people's resistance. The Constitution of Zimbabwe, in this first sentence, says, "We, the people of Zimbabwe." And I think this is the time for us to exercise that statement. We, the people of Zimbabwe, must rise up. We've always said that the government of Zimbabwe uses the Constitution, it uses the courts, it uses parliament, it uses state institutions, it uses the army to try and perpetuate its rule. And we are saying that if all constitutional means of fighting for our freedom are deemed illegal, the people of Zimbabwe are going to be forced to look for solutions outside the Constitution. And we are here to say that the issue of Agenda 2030 will not go unopposed. We are here to say we are starting a process of mobilizing Zimbabweans, both in the country and outside the country, to resist peacefully, to resist constitutionally, and to fight for our rights so that the issue of Agenda 2030 is blocked. And we are here again to say that our fight is not to win a person. It is a fight against the institution called ZANU-PF that has perpetuated the suffering of our people. We are not going to be used like we were in 2017. We will found ourselves supporting an individual within ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is at the heart of the problems of Zimbabwe, and we are not going to have a solution within ZANU-PF. We want to say the only thing that you can make using a problem if you're looking for a solution is an antidote. Zimbabwe is not looking for an antidote, and ZANU-PF must not be in the solution equation for the problems that are currently bedeviling the country. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for coming. We just want...
we end it there. I hope you heard. So this was, in essence, the press briefing that took place in Johannesburg. And I pray and hope that you heard. There is nothing that I'm going to add. I think I may come back if necessary to give my input. But what has become more clearer from all political parties is that they are against the term extension of Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa, though they have got different ideologies, but when it comes to Mnangagwa not actually reaching out up to 2030 with this mess that he is carrying as a president. All of them, they are saying no to that, and they are saying if they proceed with that, they should be assured that they will meet the people of Zimbabwe peacefully protesting on the streets, and they are rallying all Zimbabweans to be actually sensitive of this resolution, the more it begins to see the light of the day, the more the people should rise up and stand against it. Thank you very much for watching us. If you're watching us for the very first time, don't forget to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. You can financially support this channel by pressing the join button and be part of our members who are the heartbeat of this channel. You can equally do so by pressing the thanks button and send us stars. Okanqube Umhlabane is signing off. Let me love and live.